Hey everybody, I have a new recent finds video to make. Because I've just got some pretty awesome finds over the past couple of days. Ever since this weekend, I've just gone walked up to the thrift store. They had a half off sale because they're moving locations. Um, I went up to the Voltage Video Games here in Syracuse twice in the past 2 days, um, and I made a brief stop at GameStop as well and picked up a game I've been wanting for quite a while. So I figure I might as well go sort of in chronological order here. Starting off with the thrift store finds, partially because they're the least cool of the bunch. I think I might have a... Well, whatever. I can't find it right at the moment, but I'm just going to talk about the CD I bought. It was a music CD for a band called The Divinyls. Most people know them as the band that did that song, I Touch Myself. But I really like them. I've liked them for quite a while. They're kind of one-hit wonders here in the States, but, they're big in, like, Australia and Europe. They're from Australia. I haven't really sat down and listened to the album. I've kind of listened to a lot of their other stuff, but this is the one with I Touch Myself on it. Geez, I'm saying that on the internet. Doesn't seem like a smart idea now, does it? But, yeah, very good band. Their lead singer, Christina Amphlett, unfortunately passed away from breast cancer just a couple months ago. And she was an absolute ass kicker, like the female version of Bon Scott. But, man, she was great. But, no, it's sort of rare that I actually buy music anymore with, YouTube and all that. But, I figured I might as well share that a little bit. Because usually when I buy music, it's either on vinyl records and I don't get around to listening to it for a couple months, or I just don't because I have YouTube. But anyway, the other two things I got: Oregon Trail on the PC. Now, if you ever never played Oregon Trail, you need to. It's an educational game. Oh god, that sounds so boring. But trust me, this game is a lot of fun. This is really one of the few educational game series that's ever been any good. You really owe it to yourself to play it. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if this was freeware at this point. You can probably download it for free, perfectly legally. But, whatever. The disc is in very good condition. It should work. The manual, the case, everything. Picked it up for, I think, $1. I took the price tag right off the front of it because it was unsightly. But yeah, I got it for $1, and since they were selling things for like half off, I believe it was actually. No, I think it was $1.99. I did pay $1 for it, but whatever. And the other thing I got, and this is actually kind of cool, a PlayStation CD sampler pack. The games it has on it are Warhawk, Destruction Derby, Wipeout, NFL Game Day, NHL Face-Off, Twisted Metal, and Mortal Kombat 3. The last two I mentioned are the ones I care about. Though, Warhawk sounds pretty cool, and I think I remember Wipeout being pretty fun. But yeah, I've never played the PS1 version of Mortal Kombat 3. Kind of curious to, and it's actually kind of weird going into a demo disc and playing a popular game for the first time 20 years later. Also, this thing is like sealed. It's still factory sealed. I don't know if this was put in like PlayStation official magazine or something, but here I have it, sealed. I'm going to have to take it out of the seal, because I kind of want to play this because these are cool. I might make a video out of this at some point soon. So, stay tuned for that. I intend to do that. And then I went to GameStop, picked up an Xbox 360 game, and Deadly Premonition. It's like the ultimate bad game that's still actually fun. It's functional crap. It doesn't really, from what I understand, it doesn't have any like real glitches, and it's perfectly playable. It's just stupid. Really, really stupid. It's like, what if Twin Peaks were dumb as hell? The voice acting is bad. The dialogue is horrendous. I don't blame the voice actors because you cannot make this material compelling. The gameplay is really not good, but somehow all this comes together to make a really fun and funny product. Unintentional comedy gold. It's a bit of a cult classic at this point already. It's got a PS3 HD remake. I don't know if that has any extra stuff on it, but it hit better because I've seen this. This looks like, you know, an early release on the original Xbox. You know, or I've heard it described. Spoony from the Spoony Experiment described this as like, this looks like something along the lines of, this looks like a Dreamcast game that they finished, put in a drawer, forgot about, and just got around to releasing. And it looks like it. I've seen Dreamcast survival horror games played, like D2, which looks pretty good, and The Ring, Terror's Realm, which looks like complete shit. But, you know, this... You know, I actually have a prediction about this. I think this game will probably be worth something someday. There's no collector's market for the 360 at this point, really, unless you're talking about, like, limited edition special releases with the big boxes and stuff. But, no, I'm thinking that this might be worth something. I can't imagine this was made in that big of numbers. But it's got a cult following, you know, and it actually got an HD re-release on another console in the same generation. You know, this thing has a following. That's the kind of thing that makes for, like, a collector's item in the future. So 10 years down the road, this might be worth, like, full price, you know? I might actually pick up another copy or two if I can get them for cheap, you know, in case I ever need to pay a bill in the future and don't have the money for it. This actually isn't... I'm breaking the chronological order of this video because I bought this actually long before I even started making videos, and I just found it in my refrigerator. Donkey Kong flavored... I guess it's an energy drink. I intended to drink this and put it on video and just tell you how disgusting it is, like the Cinema Snob Brad Jones's Brad Tries videos. I might still do that, but I'm pretty sure this is expired. So I'm going to have to do that when I don't have school or anything. So I don't have to miss that because I'm too busy with bad food poisoning. So no, I'm not going to do that. That sounds really stupid. But, you know, this will look... I mean, I'll put this on a shelf somewhere. It's kind of cool to have this, like, with my Nintendo games. Sort of. Jungle Juice flavored. I bet you it tastes like crappy watermelon drink. Or, like, really bad fruit punch. But it's Nintendo. It's got Nintendo logo on it. Awesome. Now, my next trip... My first trip of the last week... to Voltage Games. I believe this was on Sunday. No, they're closed on Sunday. So it must have been like Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, it was Tuesday after school. It was yesterday. I got Art of Fighting for the Genesis. Pretty good condition. A little bit of label wear and tear there. I don't know if you can see that, but, you know, hey, who cares? I just care if it works. I have this on the Super Nintendo. Not very impressed by that version. I'm thinking that perhaps the Art of Fighting on the Genesis might be better. Because that was certainly the case with Fatal Fury and Fatal Fury 2. Much better on the Genesis. They even sounded better on the Genesis. The Super Nintendo versions of the soundtracks were terrible, but the Genesis versions were like made full use of the Genesis like sound processor, especially Fatal Fury 2, which I would even go so far as to say had a better soundtrack than the Neo Geo version. I mean, that's pretty impressive for, like, really kind of crappy hardware, admittedly. Especially at the time. Also, I haven't actually had a physical copy of it, but Samurai Showdown on the Super Nintendo, very good. I've played the Genesis port of it. It's also very good. Kind of wanting to get one of them, to get a copy of that. But yeah, SNK games on the Genesis actually seem to be a little better than the Super Nintendo versions for some reason. I don't know. I think World Heroes, I don't know much about that. I haven't played that too much. but I've seen World Heroes 1 and 2 at Voltage for like $6 or $7. I might have to grab one of those. I'm an SNK fan, and yet I don't have a Neo Geo because I don't feel like spending, I might want to buy a car at some point. And Neo Geo costs a lot to collect for. You think Saturn's expensive to collect for? Neo Geo blows that out of the water. The other game I got was Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the PS1 sticker. It's not the manual, thankfully. This case is kind of crappy. The disc always falls out when I open it. I actually don't have Mortal Kombat Trilogy in it right now. I have Gundam Battle Assault in there, because that's what I was playing beforehand, and Trilogy's actually in my PS1 right now. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with this. Some of the cheat codes in there actually make the game a lot better. A level select code. I think it's hold down start and press up while selecting Sonya. A one-button fatality code, which is actually awesome. Fantastic. Occasionally it'll glitch out and you won't be able to do a fatality. But one-button fatality kind of makes the game a lot more fun. Can't recommend this version enough. The load times are pretty bad, but it's the best version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy I've come across. Then again, the only other version I played is N64's, which is It doesn't have load times. It also controls like crap on the N64 controller, if I remember right. And I haven't played the PC version because, really, why would you? It's the PC version of Mortal Kombat. Just play it on your effing console, Very fun game. Love Mortal Kombat. This is one of my favorite entries in the series. Kind of want to get the PlayStation version of Mortal Kombat 3. I don't know anyone who owns that. Whatever. And the other one I got, I'm actually keeping it in my Game Boy Pocket, so I know where it is at all times. Because this is a super rare game. And I was surprised at that, because it's not a game that's like in demand at all. And it cost me $2. But this goes on eBay for like $25. You see, apparently, according to PriceCharting.com, there are like 5 copies of this game that sell on eBay every year. There are 2 on eBay right now that probably aren't going anywhere because nobody wants this game. But I have a copy of it, and it's really rare. It's one of the rarest games I own in all likelihood. And it's terrible. Really, this game is completely unplayable. Enough is enough. I'm going to show you what it is now. Shaq Fu on the Game Boy. Oh dear God, this is putridly bad. But it's super rare. I mean, I'm just going to hang on to it because I don't think anyone would buy it from me, especially the market value it is. But it's cool to have something this rare. I actually kind of find the Shaq Fu to be a pretty charming little game, really. I mean, it's just the right kind of stupid, and we thought this was a good idea at the time, but it was the 90s, and no one ever had a good idea in the 90s. Good ideas in the 90s were, pretty much just relegated to Tarantino and Squaresoft. Which is funny, because that's, the last time Squaresoft ever had a good idea. No, the 90s weren't as bad of a decade as people make them out to be, but really, lots of stupid crap in the 90s. The next thing I got is something I've been wanting for so long. This thing, I had it as a kid, but I haven't had this thing in my collection probably in over 10 years. I don't know what happened to my original version of this, but I bought this today, and it just puts me in such a great mood. Here goes. Da-da-da-da. I'm not talking about the Sega Genesis. I've had this for a couple of years. The 32X. I actually have it hooked up to the thing right now because I was just playing it. I am super excited to have this ugly thing. I'm actually noticing just now how hideous this thing looks in my Sega Genesis. Yeah. Oh, God. That is ugly mushroom-shaped. Ugh. But it's a terrible idea of a console add-on. But it is such a. There are some really good games on this, and I only have two right now. I want to expand that collection at some point. I might do that on eBay at some point this month. But so far, I've got Doom on the 32X. It's a good version of Doom. I'll give it that. It looks good. It plays just fine. The Genesis controller, it works with that pretty well with the 6-button controller. It sounds terrible. The music is just awful in this version. I mean, God, yeah, terrible music. But, just put the TV on mute and turn on, like, the Doom soundtrack on YouTube. Problem solved. And this game, Tempo. This is the most 90s game ever. It's so 90s. You play as this little, I guess he's a beetle, some sort of bug. And he's like, the game turns on and you hear rap music. Like really bad rap music from the 90s aimed at white people. But, it's really fun. I believe this is a Sega first-party product. But, they never did any other games with this character as far as I know. I could be wrong because I've only known about this game for a couple hours. The guy at Voltage Video Games recommended this to me. And he said, it's a really interesting platformer. I mean, the graphics are great, and they are. The music is great, and it is. This is, like, a really solid little game. And I've never heard anything about it up until just now. And, maybe that's because the 32X is such an obscure console. Nobody ever really talks about the positives of it. So good games like this kind of get swept under the rug. I've always said that the 32X actually had for what small amount of games it had a very good classic to crap ratio. You had a great port of Mortal Kombat 2, Cosmic Carnage, which is a really fun fighting game. Not a good one necessarily, but a fun one. This Tempo, Knuckles Chaotix is a great game. Excellent game, even, I'd say. Colibri, which is a shoot 'em up where you play as a little bird, hummingbird, shooting down bees. It's cool. I mean, it's a very cool console. Terrible idea at the time, but in hindsight, you gotta admit, pretty good selection of games on this thing. They also, when I got it, they gave me a little piece of plastic that you fit over it, so it fits into the Model 1 Genesis, and they gave me the hookups for the Model 2 Genesis. They gave me the hookups for it. They gave me a Genesis Model 2 AV cable, which is so awesome. I can finally play my Genesis games HD, which means I can actually, like, get footage from those and make Let's Play videos of that. I want to do a Let's Play of this. I don't think I'm very good at it, but, God, that's cool. Or a Let's Play of Doom, maybe. Oh, God, this makes my day. It makes me so happy. I love Sega products so much. I'm not a fanboy because I will admit when they suck, and this thing is a sucky product. But, some of the games on it were just, great. Same with the Sega CD, except for that had more of a crap to classic ratio. A lot of really crappy games. And since I traded in a couple of Sega CD games that I had, a Double Switch and Tomcat Alley, a couple of really bad FMV games, I got like $3 off of this $63 purchase. It's not much, but hey, it makes me feel better about kind of getting a $25 game for $2 off of them the other day. It also makes me feel better having played it and knowing that it's terrible. Damn you, Shaq Fu! But yeah, I also have a 3DO game coming in the mail. I was a little bit too impatient to sit down and, because I don't have it coming today. It'll probably come tomorrow. It's called Shadow War of Succession. It's one of the worst video games ever made. It makes Shaq Fu. The world needs to owe Shaq Fu an apology. It's not the worst fighting game ever made. I can name 3 games right off the top of my head that are far worse than Shaq Fu. Far worse fighting game. Rise of the Robots. Rise 2 Resurrection, which is a far superior sequel to Rise of the Robots. It blows it out of the water. It's still a horrendous game. It's just at least a game. There's more to it. And Shadow War of Succession on the 3DO. Way of the Warrior on the 3DO. I own that. It's terrible. Yeah, Shadow War of Succession. I haven't played it, but I've seen footage of it on YouTube, and it just... Oh my god, this game looks horrendous. It says finish him in Shao Kahn's voice. I'm pretty sure it's actually Shao Kahn's voice. Because it was probably a beta testing version and they were going to make their own recordings, but they didn't. And it sets up to do a fatality, and there were fatalities made for this game. They just forgot to put them in. That's not a joke, by the way. They forgot to put in the fatalities. It is one of the worst video games ever made. Look up YouTube footage of it. Oh my god, it's horrible. And I'm getting it tomorrow, and it cost me $10, and I got it from a guy in Alaska. Which, I'm only bringing that up because I've bought games and, like, records and stuff from people in, like, Canada. I think we're, like, 100 miles from the Canadian border here. Shipping from Canada is a lot. It's like, I think the record I bought was, like, $10 shipping, and that's... And yet I ship from Alaska. $4 shipping. Actually, no, it was less than that. I think it was like $3 shipping or something like that. From Alaska, which is further away than, like, Montreal, where I, for some reason, every time I buy from Canada, it's some guy in Montreal. It's so much farther away, and yet it's so much cheaper to ship things from. Thanks, International Customs. Canada's barely a different country, and yet we just... Oh, man, if that insulted Canadians, I apologize. I don't want to insult you guys. I love buying stuff from you guys. You tend to have pretty good selections of shit. It's just it costs more, and it annoys me. Not your fault, though. I'm sure you have the same problem with buying stuff from us. It's like, you guys down in America have such cool shit. Why does it cost so much to ship it? We're like 50 miles from the American border. With this... Ugh. Yeah, no. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video of all my cool new recent additions to my collection and my new 32X, which I am super excited about. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. If you didn't, well, sorry. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Have a good day, and I'm sorry that this ran as long as it did. I usually try to keep this at like 15 minutes. But have a good one. Super excited about 32X, so I'm sure you can't blame me unless you think it's a piece of crap, in which case, you're right. But it's awesome.